What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Pam, and today I have, perhaps you can tell, a garden vlog. So it has been a while, and I apologize. My tripod broke, and I didn't think that that was going to really affect these kind of videos, but it absolutely did. So we're outfitted now with a new tripod, and I have my brand new lens that I am just loving, which hopefully is focusing on my face. So it is almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit here in the greenhouse, which appears to be about 35 degrees Celsius. So it's quite warm in here, so I'm gonna do the intro and sir. Yeah, we got a lot to do today. I've actually already ripped up everything in the garden that was, you know, past its prime for the most part. Things that got broken in the storm, I will probably cut some footage in here just of a little bit of the carnage. I had a lot of the tomatoes fall down, which was my fault for not getting the fencing up sooner. So lesson learned. Well, lesson actually not learned because it's still not up. So lesson not learned. But the plan for today, besides giving you guys a much overdue midsummer garden tour, is to get as much seeds planted as I can. We've only got about 60 to 70 days-ish before our expected first frost, so I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to get a lot of my winter plantings started. So, you know, your kohlrabis, your kales, your cabbages, all those cool weather crops I'm going to be succession sowing for the next month or so, and I'm going to try to overwinter some in the cold frame my dad got me, as well as try some other tricks. So obviously I will take you guys along on that. I feel like it's probably too late to do what I wanted to do with the tomatoes, so I may have to rethink my staking plan just so that I don't break a bunch of branches off on the plants. You will see in a little while that they are heavy with fruit, so I guess we'll try to rescue this too. This is one of the plants that the label wore off, but clearly it has persevered, so we'll reward its efforts. Okay, so I just ran around and I wet the soil just with the garden hose of the spots that I want to plant in. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to use up the rest of my Fedco Sassy Pickling cucumbers. I'm having some pretty good luck with cucumbers this year, although, well, this is only from 2020, so this should be okay. So I'm going to try these because I'm not great with squash. For some reason, squash doesn't make it very long for me. I might get like 1 or 2 fruits off of it or whatever, and then the lines just die. But so far cucumbers seem to be working. So let's do this, because I can pickle these, obviously, and extend the harvest. So if I'm really sick of eating cucumbers by the time these mature, I can just pickle them. It's a great plan. All right, let's do it. This soil is like absolutely infested with ants. It's so gross, and I don't know if they actually really hurt things, but they're certainly nasty. So that's annoying. If you have never seen one of these Regina strawberries, they're like the native strawberries. These are what they look like. And this one might actually not be nibbled on. Yay! And there's another one. Oh, that one's not nibbled on either. Very exciting. This actually might be one of the white strawberries. We'll find out. See, and then all the best ones have a little nibble taken out of them. I leave them there for the bugs. But you can see this plant is pretty congested, so I'm definitely going to be dividing this. And these are perennial, so they should come back next year. I will probably drag all of these fabric containers into the greenhouse for the winter, because it's not heated, so they'll still get that winter effect, but hopefully they won't be so battered that they die on me. Okay, so now I'm over here in the wooden raised bed. This is the first raised bed that I ever put in this garden. And if you don't know what it looked like here before I started doing all of this, I'll see if I can put the video from my phone over this right now. Sometimes my phone doesn't like to talk to my editing software, but if I can get it, I'll put it right here. I've been making little Instagram reels and TikToks and stuff with the transition, and it's just been like so cool to see. So now over here in this bed, I've discovered the wonders of this little, I got this in a seed swap, and it's like baby corn. So this is from Baker Creek. Generally I don't order from Baker Creek, but I'm going to use the seeds if I have them. So this is like little baby corn, and I'll show you in the tour in a little bit what they look like when they're growing, but they are like really tiny. So I'm going to try, because they don't take too long. They're 65 days, so really pushing it here. So this might not even work. But I'm going to try and just stick a bunch of them in between my crops over here. Like, why not? Just because. And if I end up liking them, I'll try and get them from elsewhere next season. And then this corn that you see right here is the glass gem corn, and I got this from Fruition Seeds, and I'm really excited about this. This is like either a popping, grinding, or like decorative corn. It's like a multicolored corn. It's really, really pretty. I'm thinking I'll probably end up using it for decoration for the fall, so we'll see. Let's see how it goes. But I just pulled the garlic up out of this part of the bed. So I will also cut in a shot of that garlic so you can see the harvest. I am so proud of that. I probably could have left them in for about a week longer. I think that would have been like perfect, but we were having so much rain here in Massachusetts, and we've actually got more coming. This is like one of the few sunny days. I'm literally melting. I don't even know if you can see. So I've pulled up all the garlic over here, and I have amended this. I've just basically layered some compost over the top. So I'm going to kind of work that in a little bit before I plant. And a lot of you guys asked me, while I have you, why I use this straw mulch instead of wood mulch. I had been having trouble with the wood mulch being like, I can't tell if it's dyed. I don't know where it came from. Like, I don't know if this stuff sprayed on it. And a lot of the times I was noticing I was bringing even more of an earwig problem than I already had into my yard with those bags of mulch. So I don't use those anymore, even though wood mulch does look pretty. But I like the look of the straw. It breaks down really quickly. You do get these little blades of wheatgrass that you have to pull out, but it honestly doesn't really bother me. They're super easy to pull out, and they're actually kind of satisfying. But I've been using it because it's cheaper, it's easier, it's less buggy, it breaks down faster, and it holds water so well without making like an impenetrable mat. It seems to like really hold the moisture into everything that I use it on. So I really like using straw. So if you want to try it, I get mine at Tractor Supply. It's a little bit expensive out here on the East Coast, but I bet people that are in more rural areas can get it super cheap. If you've never seen one of these garden markers, this is probably the most indispensable thing I have ever purchased for my garden, and I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Everything in my garden still has perfectly legible tags, and they've been out here for months through all kinds of weather, so I am definitely a garden marker believer. This one seems to be the banger for the heat weather because it's doing really well in my other garden bed, so I think I'm going to use a good chunk of this over here. I actually have pretty terrible luck direct seeding lettuce, so we'll see if this actually works. I'm gonna pop some watermelon radish seeds in along here. This might be a little too early to plant these, but we'll give it a shot. So I've gotten this brilliant idea. I just found the floral netting that I meant to use in the flower garden, but since the flower garden is insisting on not being very impressive this year, I'm going to try to use it as a tomato fence. Sorry about the exposure. But I should be able to at least secure the tomatoes' upper branches to this thing to give it a little bit more structure, a little bit more air going through the branches, and a little bit of protection in case we get another tropical storm. Okay, and that's what it ended up looking like. I cut all of the branches out from the bottom, give it some nice air circulation. I tied everything up and separated branches that were like laying on top of each other. So once the light sucks a little less, I'll come out and show you guys a better shot. Oh my god, I am literally pouring sweat. So perhaps planting in this weather was not the best idea. Damn it. I'm like in the shade right now, which is why the exposure is weird. I think I might die. I might die if I stay out here another minute. So we might have to pick up on this a little later, and perhaps we'll find something to do in the house. Probably a good idea. It's very hot. So this is actually a few days after the garden tour that you're going to see in a little bit. So hello from the future, past, whatever. So I'm actually just wanted to show you guys, this is the fish fertilizer that I've been using. I can get this from my fellow's shop. I was using Neptune's Harvest on my seedlings and stuff like that, so I also really like their stuff, but this has been great out in the garden, so I got the big jug for today. And then I also picked up some more bamboo poles. These are like 6-foot bamboo poles. And I have another bag of ocean forest potting soil, which is my favorite, you know, like pre-mixed potting soil right now, especially for outdoor containers. Let's get out there. It is like 90-something degrees already. And it's like 11 o'clock in the afternoon. And I wanted to get out here hours ago, but I overslept. So we're going to do a late water today, which I do not recommend. Watering like this is definitely tedious. It is hard on the back, and I was going to put drip irrigation in this year, but it just didn't happen. We have somebody behind me. It's the absolute lack of privacy for me. So anyway, I hate watering like this in a lot of ways. It is good because it gets me literally down on the ground in my plants, and I keep all of the bottom branches and leaves of my tomatoes like very pruned off so that as little splash up happens as possible. I try to just soak the soil and try to get as close as possible so that there's not a lot of splash up. It does happen sometimes, but the thing about this bed in particular is that it is mostly brand new soil. You know, there's not a lot of like pathogens for tomatoes and bad shit in here yet. So if I were to do this in like a, you know, a bed that I just dug out in the yard, I might have a little bit more problems than I'm having in here, but I'm starting to see some spots on the lower leaves here and there, but I just prune them off, and so far everything looks pretty good for this late into the year, so far so good. But yeah, this is definitely not the ideal way of watering. I have some plumbing issues in my basement that, you know, again, I'm renting, so it's like there's only so much I can do. Also, the good thing about tomatoes is that I think like the vast majority of their root system is actually pretty close to the surface of the soil. So I think that's why this brand new bed has worked out so well for me. If you didn't see my earlier vlogs, basically this is a no-dig bed. I put cardboard down in the late winter of this year, well, maybe early winter of this year, and then I let that sit for a while, and then I added compost and like a bale of peat perlite mix and a lot of compost here, and I heaped it up into mounds, and the mounds seem to contain the vast majority of the roots, so watering like this is getting them pretty well watered without me having to be in here for like an hour, you know, using the hose. So I think that's why it's going so well. I mean, I'm really figuring this out as I go along, so far so good. I'm really tired. I watered everything earlier. I fertilized everything earlier. It was really hot out, and then I had a doctor's appointment, and I had to drive my kid to work, and then I had to get my son some lunch, and then I had to go pick up Mike, and now I'm laying on my laundry, which I folded. But I still have to go outside and tie up tomatoes. And I'm so tired. But I'm gonna go tie up the tomatoes. Okay, I'm gonna go tie up the tomatoes. Welcome to a long overdue garden tour. I haven't gotten a chance to show you guys the garden since the summer arrived, basically in mid-June, and a lot of things have changed. I've taken a lot of things down that you might have seen in the spring tour, and I'm kind of kicking myself because we've obviously missed a lot on these tours because I've been so busy putting the garden together, so that is a balance I have not found yet. But I'm hoping that all of my photos on Instagram and stuff like that have been enough to give you an idea of what's happened since we've been gone. So I'm going to stop talking and we're going to get right into the garden tour before the sun comes back and ruins my exposure. Okay. Alright, my friends, I'm going to show you the front garden bed. This was actually the first garden bed I started working on at all before I knew I could garden in the side yard. And I just want to show you a few things that I planted in here. There are actually some tiny moss rose in here. This came from my friend Christy, and I'm hoping that those populate over here. They're pretty small right now, but they've been growing for a long time. This is some lavender that I grew from seed using the winter sowing technique. I have sage here, and then this is rudbeckia. And this is some phlox that I actually moved from over there. So I've recently just cleaned up some of the spent hosta blooms because they were bothering me. They were just looking really messy. Another random corn that a bird planted. So I've got some hostas. I actually dug these up. Somebody gave them to me for free. So I probably dug these hostas up about 5 years ago from someone else and then planted them here. This is a dahlia. as you can see, and I already pinched the center stem, so we should get lots of blooms. More hostas. We got some spent daylilies back here. Kind of hate how those look after they're done blooming. This is a sedum that a friend gave to me, and then another sedum that I purchased to sort of, you know, accentuate that. Got some volunteer snapdragons down here and a plantain plant that I'm just letting do its thing. This is a weed, but it is a healing medicinal weed. Here are some coleus I started from seed and tucked in there because, you know, it's nice and shady in there throughout most of the day, and they seem to like it over there. I've also got some that I started from seed back here. Let's see, there's actually some back there too, but you can't really see it. Here are more of those dahlias that I started from seed. These are the ones I started too early, but they're recovering and they're doing pretty good and still giving me flowers and filling this area in, so all in all, I'd call that a success. This is my swamp milkweed that is pretty spent. That is my son. Got salvia over here, and then this is your standard native echinacea. So that is the front garden. Right there. And then I just got a hook for my hummingbird feeder and another bird feeder. This is one of my new figs, and it needs to be watered, and I need to repot it before I go in for the night. This is a Chicago hardy fig. Very excited to have that. Got some ocean forest to pot her up in. Okay, so I'm going to handle the garden tours by doing some mini tours throughout the next few weeks so that I can show you individual varieties up close and, you know, get really in detail. But for now, we're just going to do a quick sweep around. I've already shot this twice, and it's been like an hour and a half long, so clearly we need to approach this a little differently. So in here, I have a bed full of eggplant. Sorry, my son is having joy right now, so we're going to let him be loud. This is enjoyable. And by enjoyable, I mean irritating. Okay, so there's some basils, different kinds of basil. This is the globe, spicy globe basil, and I think this is my favorite basil find of the year because it's just really cute and actually really tasty. And these are all a bit overgrown, so I'm going to have to start some replacement plants soon. That is Persian basil. That's really pretty in bouquets too. So I've got Black Beauty, eggplant, and Rosa Bianca in here. Got a dahlia about to start blooming. And I actually haven't pinched this one yet, so this one's going to have to go. I'm going to pinch that, and it will give me some more blooms. Here is Tomato Alley. So I won't go through each and every one until I do an individual tomato tour. Probably going to do that this week. Oh, you can see a red one. That's a paste tomato back there. A lot of stuff from Wild Boar Farms and all kinds of cool stuff. And then I'll show you very, very, very exciting. This appears to be the first ripe tomato. It's almost there. I feel like it could use one more day. But oh, she's pretty. And she's also mislabeled, so I'm not entirely sure what she is, and I'm gonna have to go revisit my notes, see what I planted, and try to reverse engineer what this is, because it's certainly not a blue pear like the label says. And then down here I've got a little thing of native strawberries, and these don't spread through runners like other strawberries, so I'm just gonna border most of my garden bed over here with them, I think. So in front of the tomatoes, I have a black Hungarian pepper over here, which is starting to put out some fruit. My peppers are really in recovery mode. They got real damaged by thrips early in the season, so that's why they all look a little shoddy. You can see them kind of interplanted here and there. I'm just trying to salvage what I can at this point. I do have a few promising plants though, so that's good. But yeah, there's more basils, and I have several kinds of nasturtium. some Thai basil, some holy basil, more strawberries, and these are the ones that I started from seed. So it's actually very cool to see them doing so well. And they're really good. Highly recommended. Here's an especially pretty nasturtium. That is Tip Top Alaska Salmon. Mushroom. And then under here I have a pepper plant that I wish I didn't put here. At the time it made sense. It got a lot of sun. Now it's being completely overrun by this Thorburns terracotta tomato plant. And I have another pepper right there, which also probably isn't getting quite enough sun where it is. So not really too sure what I'm going to do about that yet. So we will leave Tomato Alley and Eggplant Circle. Swing around back here. Here's some new echinaceas that I picked up, some coneflowers. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Over here I have my cucumber plants, and I'm glad I reshot this tour because now I can actually show you what the dragon's egg cucumbers look like. Another little nasturtium under here. And then we've got some silver slicers. So I gotta get out here with some shears and pick that. Right here we have, let's see. Here is my, is in French, but it means the devil's ears lettuce. And this is from Uprising Seeds, as well as this mascara lettuce. And then this one is, I can't remember. I don't remember. But these are all from Uprising Seeds, and they did quite well, especially through the heat and cold and the weird weather. And you can tell that it's been pretty cool and that some of the bugs have moved on, because look how happy my kale all of a sudden is. I was actually about to strip these down to the stem, which I still may do for that one just to see how it does. But if you do that, it can grow back, so that's cool. Right here, I believe that's a strawberry blonde sunflower. It's starting to bloom. Got some mint. There's chard over here that I actually planted in the spring and it just didn't come up until recently. And then this is an Aunt Molly's ground cherry. You can see it's already, I've been picking flowers off it like crazy, trying to get it to grow bigger so that one would have a chance to catch up, but it's just very intent on fruiting right now. And I've got a few sad little peppers that are recovering and may or may not make it, and if they don't, it's okay. Got some dogwood trees back there that a friend gave to me. Haven't decided where those are going yet. And then I have a pot of ashwagandha right there. That is a shrub in India. It's used for a lot of medicinal stuff. And then here is some nasturtium. This is from Fruition Seeds. I have my remaining pot of potatoes over here. So that's going to get dumped in about a week. And we swing over here. We've got some glass gem corn. Sorry if the wind is a little rough on your ears, guys. I'm going to get myself a little thing to put over my mic so it won't be so bad. This is a Senora zinnia, and I just pruned a bunch of flowers off of that to get them to branch out. I have a cherry ember tomato down there. Got another recovering pepper in here. That's a habanada. More Tulsi. Here's the baby corns you saw me plant in the vlog, as well as the radish and some of the lettuce coming up. More corns. This is a very persistent squash plant that has a vine borer, as is that one. Haven't dealt with that yet. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. I'm just putting off dealing with it. Ooh, this corn, I love it. Got a little bed of flowers and stuff over here. Just some coral bells, some oregano, some zinnia, daisies that are, have seen better days. Some more strawberries. I think over there are pansies. And a very sad sweet pea here. More of those seed dahlias I started a while back. Got some calendula over here that's looking a little ragged, but this is the Resina calendula. Little bug trying to hitch a ride on me. And it's closed up for the day, but this is supposed to have extra stickiness on it for medicinal use. So I've got that planted all over the place right now. Got a purple top radish persisting in here. Another sunflower. This is probably a pro cut. Some languishing sweet peas over here. These are the Windsor variety from Floret. And there's a good shot of one that's not dead yet. These are really beautiful. I really enjoyed these. They're pretty close to getting ripped out now, but they were very nice and they hung in for a long time. You can see my pansies from the spring are still hanging in there when they're a little sad, but there's plenty of flowers I could press in there, so that's useful. Some more strawberries. I'll probably put those in the ground soon because they're not doing super great in those containers. This is what I fill up for the bunny and the bugs. I've got another persistent squash plant, and ooh, look. Yeah, well, that's that on that one. This definitely got pollinated today, but I have a feeling it will suffer the same fate as this guy because this thing has a gnarly vine borer problem. So I think it's time to say goodbye to more summer squash, which has pretty much been my experience with summer squash. Better luck next year. I've got some pink Hopi corn here, another sunflower, some fading yarrow, which I'm going to cut back and see if I can grab a few more blooms out of before the end of the year. It's another beautiful sunflower. I planted a few varieties that look somewhat similar, so I'm not entirely sure which one is which. And then in here I have some fun celosia in here. I love these. These are so cute, and I really didn't think that they were even gonna grow very tall because they've been flowering since they were an inch tall. So over here I seeded a bunch of Bee's Friend, and we'll see if that pops up in time to get mature before the frost. I basically got the seed packet wet and had to make a decision. Some chard over here. These are dragon's tongue bush beans, and these are the baby corns. You can see them making these tiny little ears of corn right here, which is the cutest thing ever. Got lots of beautiful sweet alyssum. I love this one. These really fill out by summertime. They were very slow to take off, but they're going good now. And these volunteered from last year, and these are bushy and awesome and healthy, so I'm very excited, and I hope that these do the same. This is a little Cinderella peach zinnia. Could use some pinching, frankly. Here's an interesting situation. These were supposed to be Molly Rillstone. They're not. I have no idea what these are. I think my seeds got mixed up in my Floret order, which is fine, it happens. But if you know what kind of sweet pea this is, let me know, because it's doing pretty well. I hard pruned these, and they're actually coming back for one last hoorah. Here are the Bix variety. These are beautiful. So I'm going to try to make as many I'm trying to make as many flower arrangements as I can out of the sweet peas before the heat comes, if the heat comes. I'm not really sure where summer is going this year. I have a dahlia, some nasturtium. This bupleurum has gone to seed. I really liked this stuff. I had a hard time getting too much to germinate, but maybe nature will do a better job. Some volunteer cosmos here. There's some more holy basil, more calendula that's just coming up everywhere, and some more zinnias. I'm actually going to pull this plant out because it looks pretty terrible, whereas the other ones look pretty good, so I think I'm going to sacrifice that guy before it gets everyone else sick. Got some more dahlias here. I think this was some seed dahlias that I started later on, so I popped those here and here. Just more calendula that volunteered. I'm just going to rip a lot of this up because it looks so bad. Sunflower, and these are all volunteer cosmos. Here's another yarrow that I cut back and is now blooming again, so that's pretty cool. More volunteer cosmos. And I'm going to give you guys a zinnia tour coming up, so I'll go through all the varieties that I have individually, but there's a little look at them. I love these cosmos. Apricot lemonade cosmos. Very pretty. Here is one of the only 2 seeds to germinate from my giant golden amaranth. So hopefully I get some good foliage out of this at least. Here's another dahlia, some celosia I just pinched. These are feverfew. These are the standard variety feverfew. More beautiful nasturtium. Come the fireworks. These say they are Tom Thumb nasturtium. Not sure if that's true or not. Who knows? As I've learned, I'm not good at tagging. There's a bunch of asters that have just been very small all summer, so I'm assuming come fall they may do something. These got some languishing eucalyptus that didn't do so good, and here's some sculpit. This is really cute. This is actually a culinary herb, but it looks very cute in arrangements as well. And then here are the pickling cucumbers that I planted on my vlog the other day, and we are going to be picking 2 and sticking with those probably and pulling the rest of the plants pretty soon. I think I have some love in a mist coming up right here, and then I've got lots of snapdragons around the center of this bed that I suspect will do most of their growing in the next few months. Look at this tiny bachelor's button. That's pretty funny. This is a hollyhock that I started in a milk jug over winter. It was the only one that germinated, but it's huge now. Actually running over my snapdragons. Okay, so in the center here we've got some bone set, another fig, that's a celeste. I have my ginger, and this is just a little mixed herb bed. Here I've got some needs to be pulled out lettuce mix, carrots, peppers. This is an Anaheim right here. More peppers, and this is a dwarf mahogany tomato. So these stay small but make kind of big tomatoes. These are pretty cool. Basil and another pepper, some onions, and some horseradish. And then along the trellis I have cucamelons and some noodle beans. Other side of the trellis here we have some really cute little flowers that were sent to me by Jeff from Tropical Plant Party. He sent me the seeds as well as a bunch of poppy seeds that I will be sowing soon. And this is purple bells. I never understand the fireworks during the daylight. You can't see them. Okay, so we've got some languishing dahlias here that were actually popping last week, but I think they're about ready to come out. And then some more of my favorite licorice mint. Oh, so good. Another dwarf mahogany tomato, and then a couple of blueberry plants. Okay, so that is the whole front of the garden, and then I just have one last section to show you guys. So right here is my Poet's Wife from David Austin. So pretty. This is the second round of blooming that it's done. The Japanese beetles have definitely taken some chunks off of them, but all in all, very cool rose. Smells really good. And then we've got some volunteer sunflowers, some oregano down there. This is my lovage plant that broke during the storm. There's a couple of sunflowers there, my echinacea. Got some straw flowers popping up here and there. This is 3 different kinds of thyme, kind of all swirled together. Here are my spent poppies. These are just the coolest thing, and I will order them every single year. I absolutely loved having these. I will cut in some footage of them because they were, like, this does them no justice. These are the amazing gray Shirley poppies. 10 out of 10 recommend. These straw flowers are going to be gorgeous. So this is a spent butterfly milkweed. And then I have some Bennery's giant white. I think that's what these are. Zinnias coming in here. Some more. Here is another recovering pepper. You can see that the fertilizer is doing its job. It's bouncing back slowly. We'll see if it makes it. This right here is white sage, and as I've explained before, my son is a Wampanoag tribe member, and I will be donating bundles of that to their tribe, so that is why I am growing it, as well as, you know, I want to be able to give people seeds so that they can replant this stuff, because it is indeed endangered. And I make that disclaimer because there are issues with people who are not indigenous using this specific kind of sage to do a specific thing called smudging, which is specific to indigenous peoples here in the United States, and that's called cultural appropriation, and we don't do that. So that is why I make these disclaimers about this plant, because I don't want to be irresponsibly, you know, just telling people to like grow it and use it and all this stuff. So I'm not smudging with this. My interest is in repopulating a plant and doing what I can to give it to the people who need it. Got a massive sunflower here. I'm not actually sure which sunflower this is. I want to say this volunteered, but I could be wrong because it is really big. I'm not sure. We're just going to have to wait until it blooms, because I did plant a lot of stuff this year. And I think back there is some chamomile and some lavender. No idea where the chamomile came from, or if that's even chamomile. It might be feverfew as well. I thought I did a good job of making notes of what I planted this year, but apparently I did not. This is Persian carpet zinnia, a very sad squash plant that will probably also be getting ripped out. I have some comfrey here, and then this is Japanese Kiro Cosmos. Very pretty. More sunflowers. This is another David Austin rose. I believe that's Lady of Shalott. This is my Maximilian sunflower, which I had to corral because it widened out to be quite ridiculous. It was smothering my lavender down there, and then there's actually a dahlia that I very stupidly planted there, but you know, at the time it seemed like a good idea. I actually have a bunch of snapdragons that I planted in down around here, but they just never really took off. And this here is culinary sage. I've had that planted for a few years, as well as this giant thyme patch. I planted this when I very first moved in, so probably about 6-7 years ago now. And then in the back garden, there's just some lilies and sunflowers, a lot of weeds, some hostas, mint, yarrow, and back there are some Tithonia. It's my overgrown greenhouse where the baby bunny lives now, so I can't go in there very much. And over here amongst the beautiful ferns, I planted a forsythia for next year. There is some meadowsweet that I planted over here, and I need to come weed all the horrible vines out of here. I'm slowly, you can probably see a bunch of stuff cut down, but I'm working on that now. And then over here I planted an elder bush, so I'm very, very excited about my elder bush. And then my compost over here needs to be turned over, but that is full of food scraps, and it's full of bunny wood pellet droppings and stuff. It's got all kinds of good stuff in there. I'm very excited to use that compost next year so that I don't have to buy any bales of peat or anything like that. Alright friends, so hopefully that was a reasonably paced garden tour, and I will do some more individual focus tours pretty soon. So thanks for sticking with me if you stuck around this long, and now I am going to go in the house and eat some dinner after I pick some strawberries. Oh yeah.